Okay, for the sake of clarity, in case you don't know Adedolapo is a program partner at Inclusive for Good. She's also a writer, OAP, and a program manager. She's a recent graduate of Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, where she studied science laboratory technology. During her undergraduate years, she volunteered and worked as a social media manager, content and editorial intern, and also a resume editor. So she's one of the perfect fits to give us a brief uh, tips on how to create a better CV. And I believe you all would enjoy the session. So if you are currently here and you have one of your friends that's actually obtained for this section, kindly notify him or her about the start of the program. So, hi, Adedolapo. Yeah, what's up? How you doing?
Hi, I'm fine. Good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you very much, Kamal. Thank you for hosting me. Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, it's nice yeah, listening to your voice on this call. I think this is one of the this is the first time we'll be testing a podcast or a webinar section on Telegram. I hope you guys would have a wonderful time. Yeah, the group is currently locked, so I would have yeah, let me check if it's something I can activate for people to give some kind of feedback to the lecture. So I will do that right now. Okay. Yeah, Adedolapo, can you tell us a bit about yourself and why you are a perfect fit for this session?
All right, thank you, Kamal. So, I recently, like Kamal mentioned, I recently graduated from Ladoke Akintola University of Technology. There, I studied science laboratory technology. However, during my undergraduate days, I volunteered a lot. I worked as a volunteer. I volunteered as a content writer, as a social media manager. I also volunteered as a business analyst. I tried a lot of things, right? So towards the end of my year in school, I stumbled on a was it a tutorial also, like it was a program, it was a fellowship program, right? So where we were taught career advance, it is a career advancement fellowship, right? So there we were taught how to build resumes, difference between resume and CV and all. Then I did mine, and since then I helped a lot of my friends to write theirs. And then of course I share with my career mentor to proofread, because she was the one that anchored the program, right? So to proofread, and since then, maybe because I have edited a lot of resumes since then, I can say for a fact that I know what it is to write a good resume, the arc and everything there is to writing a good resume or CV. Pardon me, I'll be using resume a lot because I kind of like, that was what I interface with a lot. Although there's just like difference between resume and CV. So yeah, that being said, I feel like I know what it is to write a good resume. Yes.
Wow, that's exciting to hear.
Thank you.
Adedolapo, you said you will be using the resume a lot, yeah, which is very cool. And what would you say? Is there any difference between a resume and a CV?
Okay. I think let me share my screen. I prepared the slide, right? So I think that will help.
Of course, you have for now.
Okay. All right. I hope you can see my screen now.
Not yet.
Oh, I'm sharing already.
Are you sharing from a PC?
Yes.
Okay, we are sharing from a PC. Just click on the first screen.
Okay. Oh, you should be able to see me now. You can't, right? I mean, like it says I'm sharing.
Not yet.
Amazing. Oops. Okay, I'm just going to do it again. How about now?
Still having,
Yeah?
yeah, what's the response you're getting?
I mean, like, I'm going to send you a screenshot now on WhatsApp. Sorry, I don't know what's wrong, but he says I'm sharing already. So, I don't know.
Currently, I'm not seeing your screen. You can send me the slide so that I can help. I can try it from here. Then while you
Okay.
present.
Okay.
It shows now. It shows now.
Now, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to even. Okay. Let me just share it with you just in case it decides to.
Okay.
Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah. Not now. I'm not seeing it.
Okay, I've shared it with you anyway, so you can view from your
I
end,
I
please.
I guess it's because you are using the web version.
Okay.
Yeah, you could have downloaded the Telegram app.
Oh,
But notwithstanding, just share me the link so that I can help you.
yeah, I've shared it with you.
Okay.
Yeah, via email. The heck. Hi, Kamal, are you sharing already?
Can you hear me clearly?
What did you say?
Okay. I got it. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay. Let me go to presentation. Okay, go on. Hi.
Okay.
Okay, try it.
Okay. I think it's better now. Can you go on to the next slide, please? Okay, so yeah, we're starting now, right? So the difference between resumes and CVs, that the major difference is actually the length. The number of information that you have on a CV is more than the information that you have on a resume. While your CV, you can include your academic background, your publications, award, personal information, educational background, or everything that you've worked on, your research, things that you've published can be on your resume. However, can be on your CV. However, your resume is at most a one-pager document, at most 1.5 page, right? So you want to keep it concise. So usually a resume contains just your personal information, then your educational background, usually your most recent education, right? And then your work experience and your skills. Then you can add interest if you still have enough space. Perhaps you don't have much experience and you want your resume to be full, then you can add a bit of your interest and the likes. But okay, this is the thing. Okay, I wrote here that a major difference is the length. Americans call it resume, while Europeans call it CV. Curriculum vitae, it means to the course of your life. A resume is a snapshot of your academic background, experience, skills, and accomplishments. It's usually a one-pager, at most 1.5. A CV is a comprehensive description of everything you've ever done, like everything at all. All your achievements, every awards and publications that bears your name can be on your CV. And there's no rule of thumb to its length. For instance, if you have 20 years of experience working in several companies, you can dump it all on your CV. But your resume, of course, a document that is just a page, at most 1.5 pages, you want to go straight to the point and keep it concise. So a resume usually focuses more on your work experience. I mean, that is what you're trying to communicate. So CV is used in application for top roles and advanced level programs like masters and PhD. So let's say, for instance, you're trying to apply, you want to go for your masters, or you want to go for a PhD, or you're applying for a top role, maybe for an executive position. It is ideal that you have your CV ready because they want to see all that you have done. Of course, you should have a lot of experiences, right? Whereas if you're applying for a job, like maybe if you're applying to be a graphics design or a sales associate or a programs manager or whatever you're applying for, it is advisable that you submit a resume. Why? Because you don't want to bore your recruiter. You don't want to bore them with all of your academic backgrounds, your awards, because those things, although they are important, but they are not relevant to the position that you're applying for. So why put them there? So I would advise that you submit a resume. So that's just the major difference, the information on a resume and the information on CVs. So please, next slide. So okay, while I'll be talking more on, I'll be using CV and resume interchangeably since I've been able to establish the difference between them, right? So you have to indulge me. So the content of a CV: full name, contact information, professional summary, or your profile. Some call that part objective. If you look at this slide, you see that there are just a lot of them, like a whole lot. If you have more than these, you can put them there on your CV. What will make it stand out is your formatting and how you are able to communicate all of these things. If you have leadership experiences, you can put them. I really wish I'm able to share my screen. I would have showed you a copy of, maybe I'll just send them to come out, of some resumes and a CV that I've worked on, and you see, like, what makes them actually stand out is how you're able to communicate it and your formatting, right? So while a CV can have all of this content, right? A resume, I mentioned earlier, is usually your contact information first, and even your contact information should be very, very direct and well organized. You can have your home address, your phone number. Please, you can go to the next slide. I think I have it highlighted there. Come on. Okay. So your personal information, right? Your first name and your last name. There's no need for you to add any pet name. And if you'd like to add a second name, you can, right? But just make sure that they are well presented and it is in bold format. Your address, you can prefer that you include just your city and your state. But if you want to write your full address, you can write it there. Your email address, a professional one, no nicknames or pet names. And even though you'll be adding numbers to it, sometimes email will suggest a whole lot of numbers. You don't have to pick that one. You can just add a very simple number behind it after your name, right? So your first name and your last name preferably. And you can use an hyphen, you can use a dot, something that just make it very, very basic, right? Your telephone number, please add your area code. For instance, in Nigeria, +234, because you could be applying to a different country and they might need to contact you, right? Your LinkedIn profile link. And if you'll be adding your LinkedIn link, please make sure that your profile is updated and profound. You don't want to direct your recruiter to your LinkedIn profile and then they'll be seeing something totally different or not up to date or in disarray, or you want to impress your recruiter, right? Because your CV or your resume is the first chance you get to make a good impression on your potential employer. So even though you can deliver, you have all the skills that they are looking for, the first thing they come in contact with is your resume or your CV. So you want to put in your best effort. So you want every information on your CV to point to how you can deliver value, to point to how organized you are, how to just present you in a very professional manner. Yes, you can add a link also, a link to your website, your blog, or your portfolio. That is quite important. If you are applying for a content writing job, right, you might have a blog or the works that you have done, you have them kept somewhere, maybe on WordPress or wherever you have them. So include a link to that on your personal information. And depending on the job that you're applying for, if you feel if your height is actually needed, you can include it. Because I wrote a resume she's applying for a cabin crew position, and of course height is needed, right? So if you're applying for a modeling and you want to be an actor and you're trying to apply for a sports, please make sure that you have all their requirements and include them if you have them. So that's all about personal information. Please, next slide. Okay, this is for CV's sake, right? Writing a good profile or professional summary. You can call it objective, right? So for resumes, you might not put it there. It's because of the limited space, right, that your resume would accommodate. So, but for CV, it is a must that you put a good profile or professional summary. So just see it as a summary of all your, how will I put it now, of your skills, of the value that you can offer. Like, just say as if you are giving a pitch deck, like tell me what you can do, tell me how you can get this job done, tell me your skills, and in few sentences, right? So think of how you can put your best foot forward. So it's advisable that you start with an action verb, something striking. Like, it's not like don't overdo it, right? But then you want to impress your recruiter. So don't use word. Don't start with hi. But it's not even advisable that you start with hi. Don't use pronouns in your resume at all. Use active verbs like action words, right? Be clear and detailed about your core skills and the job you want. So another thing that you want is alignment. Make sure that the role that you are applying for, the information on your CV or your resume aligns with the role that you are applying for. And there is, even if you're looking to switch to another niche and you feel like the details in your resume does not directly align with where you are going, there is a way that you can put it. Just look at the core skills that are needed in the maybe niche that you are transiting to, and look at how your present skills align with that, and just include it. Like, okay, I told you that I worked on a cabin crew resume. All of our experiences where she was a waitress or she was a tour manager, like they don't really align with being a cabin crew, right? So what I did was, instead of writing how she was able to, attend to guests or take orders or serve food, I focused more on how she was able to make every guest that comes into the restaurant relaxed, how she was able to explain the menus to them, how she was able to make sure that guests are relaxed. Like, those were the things that I paid more attention to, because as a cabin crew personnel, right, you have to be hospitable, you have to be friendly, you have to be able to provide support. So I'm just trying to say that even if what you are applying to doesn't directly align with your current work experience, there's a way that you can do it such a way that they align eventually, right? So the third point here is state the position you are applying for and describe your goals as they pertain to the job and industry for which you are applying for. Right? So state the position you're applying for and describe your goals. What value are you bringing to the company? Explain what you can do for them, but very concise about it. If you look at this example, I wrote that personable and passionate customer-oriented professional with experience in the aviation industry. Though, adept at maintaining a hospitable environment, managing aircraft services, safety and procedures. This person was the lady I was talking to you about. Though she had a license, like she had very robust educational background in the aviation industry, but she has not been opportune to have any work experience in that line. So I focused on her educational background, right? I spoke more about a license, and I just tried to weave the fact that she had a very robust educational background in aviation into a summary, because it wouldn't make sense for me to start talking about a job as a waitress in a professional summary, right? It doesn't really make sense. So I said equipped with broad knowledge in aviation operations, skilled at customer service, passionate at delivering excellent flight experience to passengers, and now looking to work in a cabin crew position with a forward-thinking organization. So look at that. So instead of saying that I did this, I did that, I did this, just be, of course, you have to be very creative, and you have to, there are some times that I sleep over professional summaries. Like I do a draft, I read it over and over again, and I be like, does it really eat the spot? Does it encapsulate everything that this person is or can do? And if it doesn't, I take a break, I come back to it, I edit, I just make sure that they are perfectly aligned eventually. And that is what you want to do. You want to just put your best foot forward, so that when your recruiter is reading it, the person is hooked. He or she is glued to the value that you can offer. He or she is impressed, because the person is not seeing you, right? So this is the very first step. Fine, it might not guarantee the fact that you get a job, but it can help you push to the next level. You can be called for an interview if your CV is impressive enough, right? Yeah, so next slide, please. Yeah, so your education and academic honor. Then you want to talk about your educational background. So this is how to go about it. You write your university name, the state and the city and the state. Depending on the name, most universities in Nigeria is the name, like they go with the state name, right? So if, for example, the example I use is University of Ibadan, you might not need to add Ibadan anymore, just the state, right? But if you are attending maybe Redeemers University, you want to include the city where it is located and the state. Your degree and your major is important. Your graduation date, the month and the year. Your cumulative GPA. I said here that only if it is required or if it is above 3 on a scale of 4 to 5 points. Of course, you don't want to graduate with a very low GPA and then flaunt. I'm not saying it's not good enough, but you don't want to flaunt such. It's not really, if it doesn't align with the job that you are applying for, right? Perhaps you studied, for instance, I studied science, laboratory technology, and I'm now a programs intern, right? So my skills or my experience as a lab technologist doesn't align in any way with being a program manager, right? So I think it is not included in my resume. So you can choose to just remove it if it doesn't align. And your academic honor, perhaps you were maybe course rep, whatever you are, if you feel like it aligns with what you are applying for, please include it. You just want to be, don't overdo it, right? But then you still want to be, you want to give a very good impression. And I'm still going to talk about formatting, because formatting is as well important. But this is how and most resumes look like, right? Properly aligned. There are acts to that, of which we'll get to eventually. But let's move forward. Please, next slide. So your work experience. So this is how you put it as well. You write the organization information, the name of the organization, basically the company's name, the city and the state, of course. If it's a virtual organization, you write virtual and you put the the link to the website beneath. Your timeline of work. It is important that you keep these details. Month and year. The month and year you started to the month and year you left. Yes. Or if you are still there, you can put present like it is in the example. Your job title is important, and how you put it is as well important. And 3 to 5 bullet points of your responsibilities. Don't just, I mean, like, if you have to keep reminding yourself that you want to impress the person that is going to read this resume or this CV. So you want to put in all the work. So don't just be shallow about it, right? You have to really communicate it in the way that this person can see sense in what you are doing. This person is impressed. This person would possibly call you, right? So next slide, please. So listing your responsibilities. So this is where the creative part pops up, right? This is the hack. Action word, the task that you did plus the goal, growth, or the results that was accomplished. So I said earlier that no use of pronouns. Don't say I did this, we did this, or it makes your experience redundant. It doesn't make it sharp. It doesn't make it the sport, right? So you start with an action word. There are several action words. After this session, I'm going to share a resource with you that has, you see, if you are applying for a leadership role, for administrative role, management role, sales role, there are so many action words that you can use. There are so many action words that you can use. Try not to repeat them. Look at, for instance, now, look at the examples of all of these responsibilities. I said provided, that's the action word first. Provided, like you want it to hit the spot. What task? Training to new sales representative. That is the task. So what is the goal, the growth, or the result? On the delivery of good customer service. Don't just stop. I mean, you could stop at provided training to new sales representative. But when you say what the results that you achieved, it makes more sense. Like it makes it more profound. On the delivery of good customer service, meaning that you're able to achieve these so results doing this so task. The next one, I said increased customer sign up by 10% using strategic marketing plan. So your recruiter know that you cannot only increase customer sign up, but you can increase it by a particular percent, meaning that you work well with KPIs, you're organized, and you know that you use strategic marketing plan. So you know something about strategic marketing planning, right? So that makes, like, that alone communicate a whole lot of other things that you might not even know that the recruiter is taking note of, right? So this hack is what you can use. The third one, utilize excellent customer skills, excellent communication skills to foster client relationship and enhance client retention. So this can work well especially if they are in customer success or you are in any area that has to do with relating with humans, right? So utilize excellent customer skills. The action was what you used excellent customer skills to foster client relationship and enhance client retention, meaning that you're a very great communicator. The fourth one, worked with the tour manager. Okay, I just listed a whole lot of different experiences, right? Worked with the tour manager to design and set revenue goals. Create, manage, and execute sales strategy which increase brand productivity and sales by 60% to meet department goals and personal KPI. So if you look at these examples that I have here, you see that there are some parts where I used past tense, provided, and there are some that I use present tense. So if you are still working in a particular company or in a particular role, you should use present tense as your action word. But if you have left, you should use past tense. These things, Grammarly would easily Grammarly might not even be able to pick these things, but there are things that your recruiter would have to take note of. You cannot say that you've left a particular company or a particular role and then you are still using present tense, like you are still working on those things, right? It's grammatical error, right? So if you've left, use past tense. If you are still there, use present tense. Those are the little things that make you stand out, right? So I said note that numbers and percentages give specifics and are great for your resume. Yes, you can say you trained staffs, but if you say you trained 50 staffs in a space of 3 months to achieve this so result, it gives specifics and it makes your resume more alive. So that is all for listing your responsibilities. Next slide, please. Do's and don'ts when listing your responsibilities. List from most recent to least recent. Because you want your recruiter to be impressed. That's the goal, right? Whoever is hiring you, you just want the person to take the next step by contacting you and maybe setting up interviews with you. So it is important that your most recent responsibilities or the company I worked with is placed first, because there you have trending skills. That was where you utilize your most advanced knowledge, right? List your most important duties first. Like I said, if I'm working as a program manager now, what are the core things that I'm doing as a program manager, right? So I list them first. Then I can now go back to list those things that I'm just doing by the side. Maybe when I'm called upon to just quickly work on these things, I can now list them. So you just want to give the best impression. Be consistent in your use of punctuation. That was supposed to be space. To save space, don't use full stop. This applies to when you're writing a resume. And using full stop a whole lot in your resume or CV just makes it look like it communicates some kind of emotion that you might not know, right? So when I read, imagine you are reading a storybook, for instance, that has a lot of full stop. It just doesn't seem right? So just write, but make sure that you are consistent in your use of punctuation. If you are going to be using hyphen to explain, use hyphen all through. If you are going to be using column, use column all through. Be mindful of your tenses. I recommend Grammarly for proofreading. When you're done, be sure to proofread with Grammarly. So don't avoid pronouns like hi. I said that earlier. Use action words instead, but don't repeat action words. There are a lot of them. You don't have to use responded, worked, utilized alone, all through. You can be dynamic. It shows that you know what you are doing. Next, please. Okay, CV or resume don't. So what you should include in your CV or your resume, except if it is actually required. Don't include your age. Don't include your gender. Don't include your religion. Don't include your ethnicity, your financial information, your marital status, and your immigration status. They are not relevant and they are completely secondary when compared to your skills and experiences. Now, it still boils down to what you are applying for, okay? But adding another one that I forgot to add is picture. I mean, like, all these things that you shouldn't add is not because they are bad or they are not good, but it's because they are secondary compared to your skills and experiences, right? A picture or all of this information here can distract your recruiter from your skills. It could also result in unconscious discrimination or bias, like your age. That's when, maybe not consciously, right? They will just begin to think that I feel this person is too young for this role, this person is too old for this role, this person, I don't think this person will have a lot of experience, considering the age, considering all of these things. This person is a female, she might not be able to handle social responsibilities. This person is a male, you might not be able to communicate with our customers. All of those things might make your resume redundant. It might distract your recruiter from your skills. You want to sell yourself, like you want to promote yourself, you want to stand out, and all of these things that are listed, including your picture, doesn't in any way make you stand out when you are applying for a job. I'm sure it doesn't. Next, please. I mean, like, if they are needed, they will ask for it, and you'll be called upon and they will ask for it. But putting it on your resume is just doesn't work. So your CV or resume layout, keep it simple. Choose a professional. That was supposed to be professional. I'm sorry. Choose a professional font. Don't use fonts like, I don't even know the names of fonts, but there are some fonts that you shouldn't, that are not legible, right? You can't read them easily. So please, you don't need all of those fonts. I know you want to make it beautiful, you want to beautify your resume, but then, or your CV rather, as the case may be, but using fonts that are just not professional is totally out of it. Present things in a logical order. Like I mentioned earlier, start from the most important. Your contact information is very, very important. Then your educational background. You can say your skills is what you want to be next, but I think educational background is important as well. Then your work and experience or volunteering opportunities. Now, just present things in a logical order, in the order that you feel like you went after your recruiter has gone through your educational background. Then the next thing they want to see is your skills, or is it your work experience, is it your license, is it your publication, is it your award? What do you think they would impress them more? Then play on your strengths, please. It is important that you do this. Don't, because you want to be very honest. I'm not asking you to lie. I'm saying that just talk more about the things that you can do. Don't say because you want to be honest, you cannot do this thing, then you put it on your resume. Like, what are you trying to do? How are you trying to impress your recruiter by doing that? I see it doesn't work. Use bullet points. Don't just write it like you're writing an essay or a cover letter. Use bullet points. It makes your resume like straight to the point. After this, after this. It gives a kind of order to whoever is reading your resume. You can get your templates on Microsoft Office. You can design on Canva, or you can check novoresume.com. There you can as well get templates. Just make sure that any templates you are using is very, it's not confusing. It is basic. It is simple enough. It is not rowdy. Please and please. Next slide, please. So other things that could be included in your resume or your CV, you can have your skills, or you should even have your skills there. Now, these skills is subjected to the kind of role that you're applying for. I wish I could share my slide now. Now, teamwork, leadership, that's supposed to be creative thinking. I'm sorry. Creative thinking, problem solving, core skills, they are soft skills, right? You could as well include, if you're applying for maybe a customer role, a customer success role, or role that has to do with hospitality, you can include things related to that line. These skills are just, they are generic. The ones that I included can be used in any, everybody at a point in time has been a leader, has worked with a team, should be able to think creatively, can solve problem if they can think harder, right? So, but if you're applying for a specific role and there are core skills that are needed in that role and you have them, please put them instead. So technology, what are the tools that you can use? Canva, Microsoft Office, Google Suits, SEO and SEM, HTML, include them. They are important parts of your resume. Language also, English, French, Tiv, Spanish, include them, and include how proficient you are in speaking those languages, right? That is as well important. Interests. These interest certificate, publications, award are for CVs, or if you don't have a very robust resume, maybe you don't have a lot of experiences and you want to impress your recruiter, so you can include interest, certificates, publications, award. But if they are not related to the role that you are applying for, please don't. There's no need for all of these things to be there. But if you want to show, if you know, you can as well add it. I think that's the end of the slide. So basically, I think I'm done presenting. I would have loved to show. Let me see if I can share my screen. But please, if you have questions, I think now is the time to ask them.
All right. Thank you so much, Adedolapo, for that impressive. For that impressive communication. Yeah, it's for that impressive presentation. I believe every one of us get it correctly, and it's something that we would look forward to, both the do's and don'ts of a resume and CV. Yeah, it's amazing listening to you, Adedolapo. Does anybody has a question? Please kindly unmute and ask your question. So we have like 10 minutes to take questions and before we finally give it a wrap. Okay, Baluatfe, you want to say something? Yeah, you can talk now.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Baluatfe. Hi.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Thank you,
Yeah,
thank you,
you're
thank you. But
welcome.
I want to ask a favor. Can can she please share a slide, my application slide once more? I want to make it special. Sorry, please.
Okay, yeah, we would share it as a resource on the Telegram group, so don't worry about that.
All right, thank you.
Does anyone has any question again? I think Tom. Okay. Does anyone has any question or contribution to make? Yeah, please kindly move forward to ask or request for mic. Okay. Dash, yeah, you can go on. You can talk. Okay, Dash, you can talk.
Okay, I was even talking before now. Good evening, everyone. My question is, I've seen some CV that add this work experience first, then their educational background comes last. So I want to find out, is that appropriate?
Okay, thank you, Dash, for that question. When it comes to CV, or ideally your educational background should not come last. I don't think that's appropriate, but it's still, and I said earlier that it depends on what is important, what you're applying for. So if you feel that your work experience is the most important, I mean, it is important, but it shouldn't come last. I don't know, I can't remember how you arranged it, but I don't think having your educational background come last is ideal. I mean, there are other things that are not really relevant that could come last, like maybe awards, publication, your technology skills that you can use, your technology and all can come last rather than your educational background or your work experience coming last.
Okay, thank you. We still have like 2 more questions to go. Does anyone have any contribution to make?
I think Tom Brandy wants to speak. I don't know.
I'm sorry, I think I couldn't authenticate it. That's why I'm unable to give him access. Okay. All right, Adedolapo, before we go, could you just give a 2 to 3 minute summary about creating one of the best top-notch resumes / CV?
Okay, so firstly, what is a resume or a CV? It is an essential piece of information or a document that you can use to market yourself, that you can use to promote yourself to an employer, so that you stand out and your recruiter or your potential employer wants to meet you. It is the first chance you get to give a good impression of yourself and of your skills. So putting that in mind, you want to give your best to it, right? You want to make sure that at every point in time, your potential employer is hooked to your skills. Your skills are interesting enough. You can communicate them in an interesting way that can make your recruiter be like, I want to meet you. In fact, interestingly, you might not get the role that you are applying for, but if you can deliver value, they can say that you will be of help or value to their organization or their company. They can offer you a different role because they don't want to lose you. They don't want to lose this person that can deliver this much of experience, this much of value to them, right? So you want to put everything in order. Like I said, formatting is very important. Please, consistency in your use of in the use of everything that you use. If you are going to underline your education, if you are going to underline, make sure that all your education, like all the I don't know, but just make sure that it is consistent. It makes it beautiful. There are some people that can communicate what they can do, like they can write it well, but it is just too rowdy. It is not aligned. It just doesn't look beautiful. So please, when you are done, make sure that you proofread your resume or your CV. You can also subject it to ATS. There is applicant tracking system. There is one, jobscan.co.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Adedolapo. I'm being constrained about the time. Yeah, I think Philip and Sarah has something to say. But before that, I think, Tom, you can request again so that you can ask your question. Okay, fine. Tom, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Adedolapo.
Hi, good evening.
Okay. My question is, for a fresh graduate that hasn't had any work experience at all, how do they go about the vital points to put in the resume?
Okay, you're a fresh graduate and you don't have any experience at all.
Working anywhere, any experience working anywhere.
Whatsoever. Okay, you're creating a resume for the very first time. Okay, I believe you are applying for a particular position, and before you apply for that position, you must have had a bit of maybe project work or certificates, or you must have performed some task to be able to say that I think I'm fit for this role, I want to apply for this role. So talk about that. Talk about those things that you did to be able to be fit for that role. I hope I'm
Okay.
able to
How
answer the
about
question.
how about in a situation where you tell people, okay, I need a job, and they're like, okay, send me your CV, let me see what I can do.
How about a situation where you tell people
You're like you're in search of it, like you don't have a job currently,
okay?
and they're like, okay, send me your CV, let me see what I can do about it.
It depends on what you're applying for, right? I mean, like, you just want to do anything, right?
No,
Or
this time, okay, you tell someone, this is Nigerian system now. You tell someone, okay,
yes,
you're in
sure.
a job, and they're like, okay, send me your CV, maybe your uncle, no
Okay.
precise job yet. They just want to like fit in a
Okay,
position. How do you build your
okay.
resume to work in?
Well, in such cases, in such cases, of course, you have to have a skill or something that you can do. Put it there in your resume, and hopefully, you have an aspiration, you have what you intend to, maybe a position you intend to work on. So put that there. So if likely is something that they are looking for, you could get employed. And if not, since the person is your own course, the person just wants to help you, the person can have you put in a particular position as well, not minding whatever is on your resume. So the thing is, just talk about what you can do very well. Put it on your resume.
Thank you, Adedolapo. And John, thanks for that question. Yeah, let's have Philip and Sarah.
Chronological arrangement.
Okay.
Because I've attended some also. I don't know how is it important. It is very important. Chronological arrangement and some other arrangements.
When you talk about chronological arrangement, I presume you're talking about what should come first. And I mentioned that your most recent experience should come first, and your most recent educational experience as well should come first. So is that not what you're talking about?
Right.
Okay, thank you everyone for that, for your contribution and for your patience. Yeah, it's so nice. We will upload the recording section on YouTube for you to watch again. And if you have any question, you can shoot us an email, community@ingressive.org, or you can tag Adedolapo on Twitter. Yeah, Adedolapo, what's your Twitter handle?
Yeah, Lawal Adedolapo. Lawal hyphen it's underscore Lawal underscore Adedolapo. That's on Twitter. On Instagram at Adedolapo right on Instagram.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Kamal, for hosting me, and thank you all for listening. Thank you for staying true. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Have a great evening. Bye, everyone.